Welcome to the Misfit One Lifestyles with Elizabeth Colin. She will awaken and connect with your Misfit One. Are you tired of the ups and downs in your life? Are you ready to live a healthy lifestyle once and for all? We are talking about all aspects of your life. Being fit is not just physical, it's also your mind and soul. Learn how to take steps in your life to move towards your goals. Elizabeth's goal is for everyone listening to the sound of her voice to get fit. Let's get focused, let's get intentional, and let's transform. Now here's your host, Elizabeth Colin.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Misfit One Lifestyles. I'm your host, Elizabeth Colin, also known as Misfit One. And today's guest is someone that we all should know. This man is a chocolate delight, Mr. Mikhail Keize. How are you?
I am doing good. How are you?
I am well, thank you. Listen, I first saw you on the show First Wives Club. And you did such an outstanding job. How did you become part of that crew?
Well, first and foremost, I'd like to thank you for the compliment. I appreciate that. And when it came to the show, I had received a breakdown from my agency. And immediately, I looked at the breakdown, I looked at the character, and I was like, wow. I was like, this character looks like me.
Oh, okay.
It was just one of those moments when you feel like, you've manifested like that perfect role. You know what I'm saying? And immediately when I saw that, I immediately knew. I was like, yo, this is going to be the role. And, I looked over, came up with my whole character personality. And next thing you know, I filmed it, sent it in. And a few days later, I got a response from the director, Mr. George Pierre. And he asked me, so where are you from? And I told him I'm from New York, but I'm of Jamaican heritage. And then literally after that, he said, all right, sounds good. Next call back, they said I was booked for the role.
Congratulations, man. That had to be so gratifying. I want you to break it down a little bit. Who do you play? What is your character? And how do you see yourself in him?
Okay, well, on First Wives Club, my character is Nigel. And Nigel is the love interest to Hazel, which the person who plays is Jill Scott. Now, I was living my life like it's golden for real.
Okay.
But at that same moment, my character, he's from Jamaica and he meets Hazel during her tour. And eventually, things spark from there and Hazel takes him back to New York. And after that, I meet her friends, family, and it's just really them being able to embrace me and be receptive to knowing like I'm her sexy plus one.
Okay. And what's great about it is Jill Scott is everything. She is so beautiful, so talented. Jill Scott. You don't have to say anything. When a person hears her name, you just smile like, oh yeah. And you got to play her love interest.
That right there, I feel is just, it's still something that I'm trying to grip till this day. Like it happened, but it feels so unreal. Like unreal. But, Jill Scott is a beautiful woman, perfect personality. Her soul is just graceful. And, it was a pleasure to work with her. Definitely.
And your chemistry was great, So how were you able to prepare for that role? Like, did you know it was Jill Scott?
Okay, to be honest with you,
talk to me.
Look, I wasn't familiar with the show, like, because most of the time, I'm a guy, so I usually watch action, crime, stuff like that. And the woman is usually, it's like a woman-based show, like that's majority of the audience.
Right.
So at that moment, I got to set. They, showed me my trailer. They showed me like, who's the PA, who's going to be assisting me. And, they were real straightforward. I went to the barber. The barber was lining me up at the time. And at this moment, he was like, hey, are you ready? And it was just like one of those moments. It's not really that you could prepare for something that you aren't really that familiar with. But the thing is, at the time, I feel like everything I experienced just through life itself prepared me to take on a role like that. And it was just being in alignment. And at the moment when I was getting a lineup from the barber, there was a knock on the door. And then, I was like, who's that? Who's knocking on the door?
Right.
Next thing you know, like I'm looking through the mirror ahead of me and it's Miss Jill Scott just walking up. And I'm like, wow, hey Jill. I'm like, yo, Jilly, Jilly. I'm like, hey. I'm like, yo, at this point, like I'm like excited because I'm like, I didn't know that this role was, that. And pew, it's just like, pew, pew, dun, 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 dun. I was like, it was just one of those moments. And immediately, I greeted her, introduced myself, and she was trying to give me an introduction. I'm like, man, girl, I already know who you are. And
Right.
yeah, at that moment, she was kind of thrown off because of my accent. And in the show, I'm playing a Jamaican character. So she was kind of, skeptical at first, like, hey, you're supposed to be playing this and, your voice, like, how you going to do that? I was like, hey, I'm like, don't worry about this. This is me. This is Mikhail. When I get onto set, you'll see Nigel. And from that point on, got onto set and we did the first dress rehearsal. At first, everybody, as I told you before, like, I'm an upcoming actor merging into the industry. My track record wasn't the longest, didn't have the most experience. So I know when people looked me up, they were trying to figure out who I was and how I was going to do this. But I knew myself and I told myself, like, yo, this is the position God appointed me. So now I'm about to show out and I'm going to do everything I got to do in order to like be noticed and acknowledged. And at that moment, once they yelled dress rehearsal and it was just like, 1, 2, 3, and everything got starting to filming, immediately I just went straight into the character because Nigel and me, we're very similar. We're very charismatic, smooth. We know how to make people happy. Our energy is, something very inviting and attracting. And me, that's me all day. Like I
Right.
love to, just get to know people and, let them know my intentions in the first and let it know that it's always going to be good. So yeah, once I did the dress rehearsal and they started it and they saw my character, they were like, okay, now we got a show.
Right, right, right. Because it is true. It's um very, very hard for up and coming actor to be on set with heavy hitters, right? They like because they you Google them and they like "Ba-da-da-da-da-da-da-da," and then you come on, they're like, we already know. Yeah, like listen, did he get the role because he cute?
Oh, I would, some people, they say, people are gonna talk whether they support, whether they hate. At the end of the day, it's just the yin to the yang. And at the end
Right.
of the day, I knew what I was supposed to do, and I knew that out of so many audition tapes, I
Hmm.
got selected. And it was just the moment when I'm just like, what's for you is for you, and nothing ever happens before the time. But just being sure that you're in alignment with yourself, with your spirituality, you know what I'm saying? Those are the key things. And once two and two come together, boom, you have something beautiful, masterpiece.
Okay, you guys, did y'all hear what he said? Being in alignment. He done said it a few times. So I want to make sure you get it out there. Being in alignment with your true self and your spirituality, because this is this whole platform, right? My whole platform is living fit, focus, intentional, and transforming. And when I see you, hear you speak, and how you talking about being in alignment, I understand that you know what your purpose is here. I want to know, how did you discover your purpose? Because you went to college as for communication, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
So honestly, as I told you before, like the things I've experienced, because at the time in college, I was a news reporter. I was doing news anchoring, sports, everything, the whole nine. And being able to transition, it was a rough transition, because at one point I went through like a post grad depression. And that was because, the doors weren't opening quick enough. But I knew I had the experience. But, coming fresh out of school at the time, they wanted certain people to have like 5 to 10 plus years work experience coming fresh out of school. So
Right.
at that moment, like, it's like I kind of fell off balance. Mentally, I was thrown off. I wasn't being able to talk the same to people, interact, because I was so in my head with everything that I was dealing with that I lost my true focus on what I was looking towards.
Mm-hmm.
And at that moment, I had to do a lot of soul searching. I read my Bible. I went to the gym. Definitely, the gym helped me so much because it got me focused. Like, I know that I have I know what I want for myself. I know how I would like to look.
Right.
How I'd like to be perceived. And knowing that going to the gym, you can just ease your mental and really invest more into your physical. Because when you feel good within yourself and you feel good within your mind,
Mm-hmm.
trust me, you're like literally unstoppable force.
You're not lying. You are speaking facts right here, because a lot of time people think of working out as an external thing, right? Um, and I always say your external is just a side effect. It's a
Mhm.
good side effect, but
Def-
it's just a side effect, right? When you working out, especially for me, my workout is my Prozac. You know what I'm saying? Instead of me taking a pill, I can get in that gym. I work out wherever I work out from home. But the fact of just working out, right?
yeah.
You clear your mind, give you that boost. I love how where you say you had to do that soul searching, because a lot of times people come out of college, it's very common, and they thinking like, listen, hey, that's my daughter, my youngest just graduated from college. She'll be 22 this year. She'll be 22 this year. She come out with her math degree, and like she ready to take over the world, right?
Oh, man.
um and you get out in the world, it's like, no, we're not ready. You're like,
Reality comes quick, quick. Like, it makes you also think, like, the people who were, invested within your life, like your parents or family, friends, they told you, like, hey, when you get to this age, it's gonna get real. And it's just like, it never really hits you until you actually reach that door. And then you realize it wasn't everything you thought it would be, but now you have to work 10 times harder than what you already done.
right,
And at that moment, it's just the main thing is just you just gotta stay true to yourself. You gotta know the goals that you have set for yourself, and you have to be disciplined. If you're
hmm,
not disciplined, it'll never work. Now, whether if you want to be the best, have or even have the best looking body, you're gonna have to be disciplined with how you eat, because they say what they say. Literally, working out is what, like 20%, and then in the kitchen is like 80, and that's just not the
absolutely.
thing.
Everybody asked me about my abs, oh my gosh, how you got six packs? How I was like, listen, abs are made in the kitchen. Period. There's no workout I could tell you to do, because truth be told, everybody have abs.
Yeah,
Is the point of you can see them or not.
yeah,
So
definitely.
you know and that's what you hit on it. Discipline is key to everything in life. And I love the fact that you said once you are true to who you are, no, stand firm, like that's exactly what I was telling my daughter, because she's going to go on, she's taking her break, and she's going to go on to graduate school. She's going to be an attorney, and it's always been her plan. But she was so sure, as many people are, and you can say, they come out, like you said, got to
All
that
the time.
door.
All the time. People come out all the time like, hey, like, I'm doing this. And it's just like you're on such a high knowing that you've accomplished something. You just achieved a milestone you've been waiting your whole life for. And
Hmm.
now you're finally legal. You can get your own place, your own car.
Place, yeah, yeah.
Nah, life just gonna tell you, slow down. And you really have to observe and analyze your environment, whether
Right.
people around you, what you listen to, what you feed your mind. If
Hmm.
if you're not feeding yourself the right things, life is gonna happen that same exact way.
Right.
That's my logic, because when you invest and you do good, you know what I'm saying? Good will come to you. When you bless others, you know, blessings will come straight to you. And it's just, that's how I've been living. And I've watched on both ends. Like when I was, you know, off balance, doing things I shouldn't have had business doing, or talking to people I shouldn't have time doing, you know what I'm saying? It threw me off mentally. And at the same time, it's like my energy, my light was being stripped from me at that moment. I couldn't even realize.
Right.
But once I realized, you have to stay true and you have to realize and acknowledge what's going on and use that as an experience to become better and to evolve. So
That's deep, and it's the truth, and I thank you for being honest, because people who are listening right now, who may be in that dump, who may be feeling like, oh, what I thought, because we all have expectations of life, what is going to happen. I was for sure I was going to be a Dallas Cowboy cheerleader. I just knew that, like.
Of course.
But then you realize, oh, they don't take little chocolate girls with a lot of muscles. They don't do that. Oh.
But the thing is, you adapted. And it's just, at that moment, you found something that you fell in love with that you didn't even realize at that moment.
Correct. So that's the truth. That is it. We all adapt. And when you came out, and to find your purpose is such a blessing for such a young age, because it's hard. It's hard out here with so many things going on. It's so flashy. The world is, you can get so fast. You don't have to wait. Right?
Definitely. And it's just moving at such a fast pace. It's just, the thing is, like, you have to know, it's just like when you get in a vehicle and you say you want to get to point A by this time. It's just, when you put it into the GPS, the location where you're going, usually most of the time there's 3 routes. There's going to be either a fast route, there's going to be a route where you can maybe avoid tolls and traffic, and then there's going to be a back route. Now, what you determine and decide at that point is up to you, but most people tend to want to go the fast route. But all the time, going fast isn't always too good, because you may never know what's to come or what can actually be in front of you that you may never see coming, that could potentially harm you or affect your mood, energy, whatever it is. So knowing where you're going and, following that GPS, whether it's whatever you believe in, spirituality.
Yes. God is my everything. If you listen, go. You could listen. It's us. It's just me's and you's. So you could tell the truth. Let's open it up and be honest, right? Because God is the reason that I'm sitting here today. And without him, who knew?
Who knew where'd you be?
Or if I would still be here. So you know what I'm saying? I love the analogy of the GPS, because they do give you those
3 routes.
Those 3 routes. And it's crazy, if you pick that fast one, which I usually do, I ain't gonna lie, I want the fastest way there.
Of course.
But then sometimes you get on that alternate slower route and you see things that you would have never saw.
Exactly.
If you were speeding by.
Exactly. And this is when it's just like, you really have to analyze your environment. From what I said earlier, you feel me? It's all about the observation and being open. Because if you're closed-minded, or if your eyes are blurry, you're not going to have proper vision. You're not going to hear clear. It's just all about knowing and acknowledging what you're here for, what you're supposed to do.
I love it. I call it awareness, just being aware. And a lot of times we go through life being numb. Like, we just want to get through it. We just want to listen. I'm just wake up today and do whatever happens, But to be aware, and being able to, like you said, look, he was doing his fingers, y'all. He was like in my eyes, like, look. We will, when you are able to visualize and see and make that um awareness, just knowing like, oh, I see you, I see what's going on. And like you said, you have to um fuel yourself, and it's just not with food. If I'm hearing you right, it sounds like you're saying the people you surround yourself with, the things that you are reading, the things that you are seeing,
Of course.
you know, and you had to pull yourself out of the post grad depression, and you said you had to do that with a lot of soul searching.
Yes, a lot of soul searching. Sometimes you see the thing about growth, if you really want to grow, you have to be uncomfortable. Like, and that's the main thing during that time when I went through, post grad depression. I was uncomfortable mentally, spiritually, financially, everything that ends with like the illy. No, because at this moment I didn't know. I expected, I had such high expectations, and they usually say high expectations lead to disappointment. So me, I always say and stay neutral because I know at any moment anything can happen. But I know every decision that I do within my day-to-day lifestyle can determine where I'll reach. And it's like mentally you have to be real with yourself. You have to be able to know like what's going on. You have to acknowledge like, hey, it's here, it's in front of my face. So what's my next step to do? Usually at that moment, you have to just take a pause. Look at me personally, what I did, I look back at everything that could have potentially harmed me or where I could have lost my life or just, a moment in time where it's just like things were going good or things were going bad. Like I literally recollect myself and remember experiences, memories, remembering everything that people before me, whether they're passed away now or even if we don't have conversations anymore,
Right.
people instill and they teach you lessons. And at that moment, you can either accept that lesson and embrace it and be receptive to it, or you can ignore it and turn another eye. But somehow, some way, everything happens for a reason. And whether or not, if you ignore it at that time, or if you ignore it in the future, or even if you don't ignore it, you have to come and fight your battles face to face in order to evolve and become who you're meant to be. Like it's just the process of life, literally. Like,
Bam, the process of life. And you're not lying. You have to show up every day. I love what you said when you got on that set and they was doing the dress rehearsal. You was like, this is my moment. This is where I have to show up. And I was always taught when they give you a crack that door, you get that little foot in, you
definitely.
better blow it up. You better
Of
bow.
course. Man, what you can't this the moment that you like, everybody has their passion, everybody has their dreams. But when you come face to face with your dreams, like it's that moment when it's like, hey, I can show up and show out right now, or I can fumble the bag. So who are you? You know what I'm saying? Are you gonna fumble the bag or you gonna embrace the bag and make more bags and more opportunities shaken? That's the mental state that I was in because I'm like, at the end of the day, you don't need to know where I came from. You don't need to look at my track record. You don't need to worry about all of that stuff. But at the end of the day, people are gonna look and people are gonna think whatever it is, but you can't fall victim to that. That should be what you use as your fuel to motivate you to go 10 times harder. And that's what I did with everything. That moment, the dream was right in front of me. And I'm like, this is what I've been praying for. This is what I've
Right.
been asking for. And it's here right now. And now I'm not playing. Y'all are going to remember me. Remember the face, remember the name. The legacy itself will speak for itself.
I
That's
love
my,
it. I
that's
love your quote. I love it. It says,
my quote.
remember the face, remember the name, the legacy will speak for itself.
Definitely.
Bam, bam. You know what's crazy is when you say, this is the moment that you dreamed of. This is the moment you prayed of, which is all about our focus, right? So when was the moment that you decided, yeah, this is what I want?
Okay. So this happened a couple years back. It was before I went to college. I had a friend. His name was Brandon, and at the time, it was senior year of high school. I pretty much knocked out all my core classes, and I had a couple of electives that I could choose from. And I was gonna go the fitness route, but he was like, "Man, you always go the fitness route. Why don't you try something different? It's your last year, man, last semester." And I was like, "What do you suggest?" He was like, "Why don't you try drama?" And I'm like, "Drama?" I'm like, I'm not no drama person, bro. I'm like, nah, because everybody has those thoughts of how the drama kids were, and I'm like, nah, I ain't gonna do that. He was just try it out, and I was just like, growing up, a lot of my family and friends always told me like, I was very animated. Yo, you could be an actor one day, and at the moment I wasn't thinking much of it, but all of my personality traits was literally screaming that. So, I spoke to my mom, and my mom was like, "Yo, try it out. Let me know how it is. If you don't like it, just, go to a different class." Tried it out. And at that moment, like when I got on the stage, my first play, it was Legend of Robin Hood, sort of.
Wow.
My friend Brandon, who suggested for me to join drama, he was Robin Hood, and I was Little John.
Oh, how
So
cool.
yeah, so that moment being on stage in front of the audience, like a packed seats, full auditorium, reciting the lines and just being that character and just seeing how the crowd embraced me, like the joy that came, the joy that filled my spirit, like it's just I just knew like this is what I want. Like being able to just freely be myself without worrying about judgment from others because they know at the end of the day, this is all a show. But
That's
this is
right.
a place where I can be myself. Because, most of the times we put on a facade when we go out in public, people, act fancy, people act bougie, people act arrogant, ignorant, all type of stuff, the whole nine. But literally, that moment, like, it's just, I just knew. And literally, when we're done with the whole entire play, the people after came out, families, friends, other people's families, they're stopping, greeting all of the actors and actresses that were in that showcase. And literally, the feeling of knowing that I made someone's day or making someone smile just from my performance. And in my head, I was like, man, I knew I killed it. But you know what I'm saying? That you have your little doubts here and then. It's like, man, maybe they just capping or they just trying to say something to just be in front of me or whatever. But the more I did it, it's just the more joy, the more I became to know and to realize, like, hey, Mikhail, this is what you're meant to do. You know what I'm saying? You've been doing this since you were a kid, teenager, and it's just the people. It was just like it's words can't even describe. But whenever you have a feeling like that, whether it's in a job, whatever field, industry,
Right.
communication, media, whatever it is, that's when you know. And then you also have to look over your life and look at your skills, look at your progression and everything, whether it was Joe Irving, they don't usually placed up from yourself. And sometimes the uncomfortable aspect is knocking down that barrier, being able to not focus on what the critics will say, what those will say, what the judging people would say. You have to focus on what makes you happy, how you feel, what's on your mind. Like making yourself priority. That's it. And it's just at that moment, that was when I knew.
I got goosebumps. I mean, I got goosebumps when you were talking about that moment. I felt that moment. I know everybody who is listening felt that moment for you. And
Man,
what's crazy is, like you said, is it's not a word that you can say or use to describe it. It's a feeling. And we are so happy, listen, that you did that. Go ahead, Brandon. I'm glad we're gonna give him a shout out that made you get out there and do it because nation from everybody. And then, like you said, I was born to do.
yes. And knowing is just when you know that, like
Mm,
you really, and this is it ties back into soul searching because most people when they hear soul searching, they just think it's just your spirit itself, but nah, it's the overall aspect, mind, body, and spirit. When you evaluate all of those things, every crevice, every corner, every part, even the layers you don't even want to touch, the traumas, experiences, when you become true and understand, it's just like it changes your whole view, your whole insight and perspective of just life itself.
Wow.
And that moment, literally, whoever's listening, everybody will know that feeling. Cause that feeling is you're gonna feel it under your skin. Like, and it's that moment where you can't sit time and think anything negative because only positive is happening. Even despite you're even experiencing negative circumstances or situations. Literally, joy will come in the morning. You feel me? Like,
Okay.
like it's just the truest thing ever. Like, and it's just knowing that. And
And once you knew that, though, once you knew that, Mikhail, what was the next step? Now you got your focus. You know your purpose in life. Thank you, God. This is what I was born to do. Then how did you move? How did you move with intentions?
well, at that moment, after acknowledging that and just knowing like I'm here now, I stepped in the door. Then I had to realize there's gonna be plenty more doors that I'm gonna have to step into.
Right.
This isn't just woohoo, I made it on TV.
Yeah, that's
I made it.
it.
Nah, this is now when it's just like I've ascended to the next level. And
Oh.
now it's about staying relevant,
Mm.
knowing that I am deserving for all of the work that I went through blood, sweat, and tears for. And everybody has a story. And what's going to differentiate those people with their story is their actions and their intent. Now, my personal intent is that I want to show people that you can do it. Like, you can do it. Like, who would have thought a young kid from the Bronx would end up on First Wives Club playing a love interest to Jill
Jill
Scott?
Scott,
Like,
get out of here.
like, think about that. There's been people who's been in my field for years chasing this dream, trying to make it a reality, but it has not came yet. But at the end of the day, everybody has a season and a time of harvest. Now, what's gonna put some people ahead of others is
Mhm.
what they do during that season. Now, it's just like when let's say you're a new house owner and you got a lawn, and you have that ideal visual. I want that fluffy, bright green grass that I can lay on, no ants, nothing. What do you have to do? You have to water the grass, you have to fertilize the grass, you have to get the weed killers. And over time, the more you do that, day to day basis, the more you water, even when it doesn't even look like it's getting anywhere. Literally, that seed was already planted. It was just for you to nourish it. That's it. Now, if you don't nourish
Yeah.
it, you can never expect what you want and visualize. So, what are you going to do? The decision stays right there, right in front of you. It's either you nourish it or you leave it and hope for the best. But me personally, when it comes to my dreams and what I'm chasing,
Talk to
like
us.
I already stepped in the door. My foot is already in the industry. Now it's time for me to let the industry know who I am. Now,
Say it
how am I
again.
going to do
Uh-huh.
that? I'm about to show out in every performance, whether it's small, whether it's supporting, lead, recurring. I don't care. Because at the end of the day, I did what people thought was never possible. And, by the grace of God, He guided me to get to that point. And I never lost my focus. I never came off tracks. I never became victim to what people had to say to me. When you keep your mental space clean and literally filtered, yo, you're unstoppable. Like literally unstoppable.
Unstoppable. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And that's crazy because you said it earlier. Um and for you guys who didn't pick it up, I'm gonna put it out there again. He said the things you do every day is what prepares you. every day. It's not a moment, it's not a season, it's not, oh, I feel like it today, not tomorrow. Just like that grass, if you want that nice grass, you have to work on it every day. You can't just say, oh, I throw out some seed and then, oh, tomorrow it's going to be beautiful. But you tell the people that is something you have to do every day. And you do that. You put in the work. You said the blood, sweat, and tears. First of all, before we go any further, let's tell everybody how they can stay connected to you.
Okay, well, when it comes to staying connected to me, okay, so this last past week, on Instagram, my at name is Mikhail Keize, Mikhailkeize. Somehow, some way, you see, when you elevate and you're progressing, the devil always comes and tries to attack. My personal account had got hacked.
No.
Yes, got hacked at the start in the progression, like literally hacked. And I'm still, in talks with Instagram to gain access to that account. But I
Right.
have a backup at the moment, and that is Mikhail period Keize. That is Mikhail period Keize. That is
Okay.
my current handle until I get my old one back by God's will.
Amen. And then what we'll do is we'll all connect to the um, temporary one. And then we'll stay in the know and know when your other one to come back so we can go to that one.
Definitely.
Right, right, right. Well, listen, Mikhail, you are not only someone who is up and coming and working hard every day on your craft. You are someone who is grounded in their faith. And I really am so proud of you. I mean, you are really doing things and listen, I'm gonna go back to how you said with the GPS. It's not easy to select something other than the fastest way.
Definitely.
Who instilled that into you? Is it your mom, your dad? Like, who is your role models?
Honestly, my role models, my parents, definitely. When it comes to just, how grounded I am, they're the people who instilled that, mindset, the nature of just, trusting in God and just staying true to yourself.
Wow.
I also had a friend, his name was Basit, he passed away about 3 years ago, rest in peace to him. He was heavy on just influencing me to believe in my potential and to know that I'm here for a reason and I'm deserving of every blessing. You feel me?
Yeah.
That's another one. Another big role model, someone I really look up to is like Denzel Washington, Steve Harvey. When it comes to those two cats right there, them great legends, trust
Yeah.
me, if you're not familiar with their story and how they came up, definitely you need to check in. Even Steve Harvey, just Denzel Washington and how he's grounded. Steve Harvey with how he excels and progresses and how he tries to share gems to the society. Literally, you don't understand what it took for them to get to that mental space.
Yeah.
But literally, that's something you definitely need to check in. Those are gems right there.
You know what's crazy is, Denzel, which is my daughter, when she saw him in Man on Fire. Was that Man on Fire? Like, she was like 5 or something. When he was that bodyguard, remember he was taking care of
Yeah,
little
I'm not familiar with the
I
name.
can't yeah, you don't know.
Yeah.
But she was like 5 and she watched him in this role and he protected this little girl. And again, after the movie went off, I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but it's like 20 years old, but he dies at the end, right? And my daughter looked at me and said that she gonna marry him, right? She said, I'm gonna marry him. She was 5, right?
Wow.
But his performance was
Mm.
so real, connected with a kid, a child, like
Captivating, yes.
so a child that and she didn't understand Mary. No, no, she at first said she wanted that to be her daddy. I wanted that to be my daddy, right? Because she felt that he made her feel safe
Mm.
and secure, and he would do anything he did anything to protect this little girl. So if she did, that could be my daddy. Then I said, no, it can't be your daddy, but like a husband. She said, oh, I'm gonna marry him. She still say, she gonna marry Giselle. I said, you gonna be pushing him in a wheelchair? She's like, she don't care. She gonna push. she,
Oh,
she
man.
don't care. She gonna push him in his wheelchair. Now that is a performance of a lifetime. To be that profound and that connected, that
Yeah,
you make a connection through a screen.
through the screen.
Through the screen, man. So you got some real good ones that you did. And Steve Harvey, same man. His story is just unbelievable, and I love how each one of them handles it the same but different. If that makes sense.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I love how them this
Yeah,
routine.
face routine, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, I usually do masks, like, maybe every week. And if it's not skin to glow in everything I do, you know what I'm saying? Black don't crack, you know the vibe, but
Okay, yes, I think that is so awesome. You got to share with us because I'm almost 50. I'll be 50.
do on their own. Because, you know, I could tell you what works for me, but
Yeah,
it
we're
might,
gonna have to. But I need to.
you have to try, like, baby skin. Like, I don't have any flaws. I feel
Right.
moisturized. I just feel great. My skin feels great and it looks great.
It
Like,
does. He said, and it looks great. Yes, it does.
trust me, man. Yo, those avocado mats, like, it's all type of stuff, man.
Oh my
But
goodness. You know what? We're gonna start it right now. Everybody today is gonna do a mask. We're gonna take a picture and tag them. Show them we doing our mask. We're gonna do our mask, right?
coming so clutch. And another good one too is Glam Glow. Now that one is like, let me tell you about Glam Glow.
Tell us.
The way how I came across Glam Glow, it was funny. You know, I was just walking in the mall and I was just passing. You know, when you walk in, whether it's Macy's or JCPenney, you know where all the, you know, perfumes and
Mm-hmm.
stuff are. Like, I was just walking past, and you know, a representative saw me. I was just like, hey, your face, you know, your face looks so young and vibrant. Like, what do you use? I was like, man, you know, at that moment, all I used was just water, you know what I'm saying, a little soap, and then I put
Right.
some shea butter on. That's it. Nah, that was one too, but literally she pitched Glam Glow to me. And I was just like, you know what? Let me try Glam Glow. You know what I'm saying? I got this facial moisturizer that I apply. You know, I have like this rejuvenation like rose spray mask, like it activates, I don't know, it's like vitamin C serum. I don't know. I'd have to
Right.
check, but there's like it's like a hydration facial
Right.
cleanser. And you just spray that and it just set and leave it there and it just makes your skin so smooth, so vibrant, that glow. When you live life good and you feel good and you look good, that's
Yeah.
the type of glow that it gives you. That and the
Oh.
Fenty. Everybody know Fenty.
Right. I
Listen,
know her makeup, but I didn't know her cleansing stuff. See, you are schooling the people today. We gonna have to know. And what's great about it is, and people gonna listen, because you a man talking about it. Woman talk about it, they just expect it to be.
like, man, nowadays so many men think that's not something that's masculine. But honestly, fellas, a woman loves a man who's well kept, smells good, hygiene on 10, nails, you know, clean, look good.
Yes.
Nobody wants nothing nasty. Cause think about it. Would you want your woman to have that? Would you want her to have nasty nails, not nice skin,
Nope.
don't smell good? Exactly. So put the same pressure, you feel me, when it comes to yourself. And I guarantee you the results in return from the women gonna blow your mind, fellas. And that's facts. You know?
Facts. Y'all heard it right here. Facts. Listen. Remember the face,
Cool.
remember the name. The legacy will speak for itself. You are absolutely phenomenal. Before we wrap it up, though, what do you want to tell the people? What do you want to leave us with?
Honestly, I've spoken on so much, but honestly, people, listen. If you got a goal for yourself and you have a dream, you can achieve it. Literally, the steps of progression lie solely upon yourself. You can never allow yourself to be a hindrance to yourself. Because when you become a hindrance, literally, there's going to be so many mental blocks that you're going to put up without even realizing until, let's say, you get in a relationship or somebody else presents it to you. And then you might possibly want to say, oh, they're trying to change me. But no, it's not about change. It's about evolving and being better than who you were before. Because at the end of the day, fellas, to the men, to the women that are listening, you can never allow your past to define your present or your future. And every decision you do can either lead you in the path you'd like to go, in the direction you'd like to progress towards, or it can detour you. And it can detour you to another aspect of life that you didn't even want to experience. But literally everything lies solely upon yourself. Stay true to yourself. Have faith. Stay true. Trust God. Everything's going to be good. Embrace the process. And that's just love. That's life. Love, light, and peace, family.
Awesome. Listen, everybody connect with this young man, Mikhail, Keize, on Instagram. We got you. Thank you so much for blessing us today. You definitely have a fan in me. I am going to be all up in your IG. I'm going to send you those pictures of my mask. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You're such an amazing young man, and keep up the good work.
Thank you so much. Hey, keep watching First Wives Club, BET Plus. Access it on Amazon Prime Video.
Bam. Until next time, you guys, stay fit.